Hey folks, John from Complete Technology Solutions, your friend in the computer business. All right guys, so in our infinite quest for the perfect retro game computer on a budget, our friends over at GMKtec sent us a new mini PC. Check this thing out. So guys, my ultimate goal here is to create the ultimate retro game PC, but to try to keep our total cost right at that $150 mark. It's easy to do that until you get up into certain game systems like Xbox and PS3. They're very system intensive, they're very video intensive, and they'll drag one down. Now you guys know, for the longest time, these AMDs have been my go-to. They will run the Xbox games at about 80% speed, and they will run some PS3 games. They still struggle on the higher end games or the any of the Xbox games beyond the couple that I've tested. So I contacted our friends over at GMKtec, and I said, do you guys have anything or any ideas on how we might solve this problem? And they sent me out the Paladin Mini PC. Now guys, this is running off of a Celeron N5105. You know how I feel about Celerons, but I've been assured that it's going to run better than our current AMD, so we're going to give it a shot and see. So let's crack this packaging open together here, and let's see what we get in the box. Now, I will tell you that the back specs on this thing read 8 gig with a 256 gig solid state drive. That was not what I thought this was going to be, so I'm kind of curious to see what that is. And I know they do come pre-installed with Windows 11, I believe. So, all right. So inside our box here, we get our nice little manual. Any of y'all read that? Yeah, I didn't think so. Looks like it is a basic port descriptions and, yeah, warranty information, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, okay. And we get down to the system itself. Now, guys, first off, that is very thin. Now, you remember the last video that we did on a Celeron. And if you missed that one, I'm going to throw a link up here in the description for you. It was not very good, but this is not the same caliber machine. So we're going to hold out hope here. All right, cracking this open. Oh, man, I do like that steely blue look. Look at that, guys. So that is a very, very slick-looking case. All right, so going around on the outside here, we've got our power button here, USB 3 ones here, our audio jack. We've got 2 more USB here. On the back, we've got a gigabit LAN port along with 2 HDMI ports. Now, that could present an interesting problem using Batocera, but hopefully we'll get back to that later and it won't be an issue, but we'll see. And on this side, as you can see, we've got some vents on here. Now, guys, what I'm hoping all this venting is some sort of an active cooling system, because when you start cranking out high-end games, these do get warm. So I tell you what, let's see what else we get in here. There we go. Looks like we get a regular power adapter. Let's see if that is the same 12 volt. I'd be willing to bet it probably is. And yes, it is the same 12 volt power adapter. You get a bracket for hanging this on the wall, and you get an HDMI cable. Other than that, get a couple little screws in here for mounting the brackets, and that's about it. All right, so let's get the box out of here. All right, so guys, I know that this thing comes preloaded with Windows, but as you guys know, I'm not interested in that. That's not the point of this system. You can use small systems like this for basic office work. That never was really what we're intending to do on this channel. So I tell you what we want to do. I want to crack this thing open and see what is inside of it before we get too froggy here. And it looks like, unlike that last case, this one is actually held together with screws. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's pull those screws and see what we're working with here. So, ultimately, guys, I want to use this system that we're going to build to not only upgrade the arcade 1-ups and regular arcade machines, but ultimately, guys, I'd like to have something that you can travel around on and still be a power sipper, so that you can use this plug on an inverter and possibly run this for 8 hours on, you know, like a 300 watt machine. That's what I'm shooting for. So, all right, so we got all of our screws out there, and let's see if we can get this out. It looks like it is kind of loose, so All right, let me get my little prior here because it does look like it is coming down. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to pry down on the plastic on the bottom. And as you can see, the bottom cover comes off. All right, so right off the bat, guys, this is the 256 gig M.2 drive. That is critical because this is what we're going to swap out to one of our 1 terabytes that's got our game system on it. So we're going to come back to that. Looks like it does have 8 gigs of RAM in here, which is also nice because you have an expansion port to take that to 16. I very much like that, so I approve of that greatly. Now, it looks like to get into the bottom of this, we're going to pull 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that should lift this single board out of the case. Be right back. All right, guys, so as you can see, we've got our 4 screws out. We're going to grab onto the RAM here, and we're going to pull out on the board. As you can see, that comes out and slides out nicely. Now, be real careful, guys. Your Wi-Fi antennas are attached to the bottom of this case here, so you don't want to pull those out. But that answers our question. We have got active cooling on this system. That's a big plus, guys, because that means that we're running those heavier duty games. We're going to be able to do it without overheating this system. So I tell you what we're going to do. Let me go ahead. I'm going to completely reassemble the machine. And then my next thing I'm going to do is we're going to swap out. We're not even going to mess with booting this thing up on Windows because, frankly, we don't care. But what I am going to do is swap out our drive. Then we will put it on this system and see how it does. Be right back. All right, guys, so we've got this remounted back in here. Let's go ahead and pull out their M.2 drive. And like I said, it's a 256. I will say that the one that came with the AMDs that we've got is only a 128. So that's kind of nice. At least we'll have some spare drives around here if we need them, assuming this system ends up working out. So we're going to throw in our 1. Now, the next thing that we do not know is which HDMI port this is going to want to use. On the AMD, it's the HDMI port that is closest to the power, but we don't know that yet. We're going to have to just find out. All right, so we're going to case this up. I'm going to go ahead and put the screws. Nah, you know what? Let's leave the screws out for now so we can actually test it and see if we're going to use it. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and connect up our power connection. All right, give me 1 sec, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up, get Stumpy re-angled on our screen over here, and then we'll see what it does. I'm really curious myself. Here we go. All right, guys, so let's go ahead. As you can see, we've got her all connected up. One thing I want to show Stumpy. You'll notice that we've got our power connection here. We've got our LAN port here, and I've got the HDMI connected onto the center HDMI port that's closest to the power. That we don't know yet if that's what it's going to want, but we're going to find out. On the other side, we've got our link up to our keyboard and our mouse, as well as our regular controller that you guys have seen on this show 1,000 times. So, all right, I've got this focused on the screen. Let's go ahead and power it up. And we got juice on the front. If this is working, we should get display automatically on this screen. And it looks like it is working. Okay, so it's going to boot into Batocera normally. Let's see if we've got audio. Hold on just a second here. And we do have audio. All right, guys, as you can see, we are booted up. Let's see, we should have audio now. And we do have audio now. Now, the key to this was, guys, whenever you change out any of these, and this goes with any system that you're playing it on, but when you're changing out the game system and putting it into a new system like this to boot up, occasionally you have to change your audio source because, in this case, you've got 2 HDMI ports, so you had to set it to the correct HDMI port. Just so you know how to do that, if you are inside Batocera, all right, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to our Start button, and we're going to go down to System Settings. And in System Settings, you've got an audio output right there. This is where you would change the audio outputs if you're getting a Batocera system that you plug into your system and you have no audio. That is 100% of the reason why it's set to the wrong one. So if you click on that button, you can see it's got, this is the HID analog stereo. That's the onboard. And this is the HDMI. So always I like to set it myself. That way I know it's correct. But all right, guys. So boot time was almost exactly the same as the other one. I tell you what I want to try. Let's go to one of the ones that I know stumps up the other system. It actually runs kind of slow. So let's go to the Jet Set Radio Future on Xbox. If this thing runs this close to full speed, we may have a winner. But it's a Celeron, and you know how I feel about that. All right, here we go. Now, guys, look, just to show you, we have audio. But I'm going to keep the audio turned down because I don't want any copyright strikes. So, yeah, get this. You're going to laugh about this while we're waiting on this. I had a copyright, not a strike, but a claim on an old game video from well over a year ago. I think that video had like, I don't know, 100 views. And I'm like, okay. But fortunately, YouTube these days, they have this thing where they can go in there and just change out the audio. Worked out pretty well. So, all right, here we go. Graffiti is art, however, it's an act of vandalism. Yeah, okay, let's go on. Wow, they actually make you read that. Now, guys, I am just going to jump right into a game here, and let's just see what it does. Like I said, I'm not promising anything. I don't know what to expect, so let's just find out. All right. On. Sorry for the delay. Oh, guys. Okay, I can tell you that is probably at minimum 60% better than the other systems I've been using. All right, guys, I suck at this game. No laughing. In fact, I don't even really know what I'm doing. But what I can tell you is it is actually running pretty darn good. This is, I would say, probably 90% speed, give or take, which once again is eminently better than it was. So I have no complaints about that. All right, so I tell you what, let's, since we know this is working and actually at an acceptable level, which is scary and yet good. Yeah, this is actually running quite well. All right. So we know now that this system is going to run, I'd say at least 20 to 30% better on Xbox emulation. That gives us a lot of options because I do want to delve into PlayStation 3 and Xbox. But since we're here, let's go over to one of the heavier PS2 games because the PS2 games don't really push the other system. In fact, it runs pretty well with them all. But just for giggles, let's go to like Devil May Cry. Now, this game is incredibly graphics intensive, as a lot of you guys who've ever played this know. And it does tend to eat up the cycle. So let's see what this thing actually does. And cross our fingers. That's all we can do. But so far, guys, this Paladin is looking pretty darn good. And for the price break, it's right in that same price area that we're looking at, guys. I believe that this model was like $130, and I will have links to all of their models down below. This one along with the two upgrades from this one. So, oh, and don't forget, I'll also have a link to my game systems down below also, and I'll be putting them on my Etsy shop. So if you have any questions about that, you can email me directly, or you'll have that. So, all right, here we go. Let's launch on into this and see what it looks like. I'm excited. I tell you, I'm holding hope here. And Devil May Cry is a beast of a game. All right, there we go. I played a whole lot of different games that, there's some Windows games that can be a little graphic intensive when you get like a strategy game with a ton of characters. But overall, it's those fighting games that usually end up eating you up. I keep forgetting the controllers that I use, my default ones, have rumble packs in them, and this game supports rumble, so. All right. Yes. Just let us in the game so we can move around. All we care about is the movement. Here we go. Sure, sounds good. Yep, cool, whatever. Okay. All right. So what we're looking for now, these controls can be a little bit, they can be modified, obviously, in the emulator. But for right now, we don't really care about that. All I care, whoa. Okay. Well, this thing is chewing up this graphic stuff. It's not even slowing it down. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but you get, whoa, well, apparently I've got some guns, and yeah, that works. Okay. Crystallize, offer to guard. Okay, whatever. Nice. All right. Well, that answers the question. Does it run well? It runs extremely well. All right. Now, the guy I got this from, guys, and I want to let you know about this. Let me break out of this. He said that he didn't think that this was going to be able to run PS2 and PS3 emulation or Xbox at all. We have just proven that it runs Xbox without a problem. I have some PS3 games that I'm going to be loading on, Castlevania and stuff like that, that I know run pretty well on this system, but I think this system would probably eat it alive. So this is not the last test. This system goes, you're going to laugh, I'm saying this for a Celeron, cut me a break. This system is going to go up on the top of my list for quality and speed for the price. You cannot beat it. So I may use this as my beta unit. Yeah, where I'm building them up on. You know how that is. But overall, guys, as you saw, it runs wonderfully, which did catch me off guard. By the way, if you're going to run Windows 10 on this, it's a quad-core processor running 3.4 gigahertz, you got 8 gigs of RAM, which I would easily bump to 16. It's cheap to do that, and run a 1 terabyte M.2. It's going to run Windows 10 and Windows 11 fine for basic office applications. I wouldn't try to do any gaming on it, but overall, it's perfect. But for our purposes, that goes to the top. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have a huge video coming up, and it involves that. I guess we're going to find out together. Have a great day. Bye-bye.